Breaking news. As the Phoenix Suns have decided to move on from head coach Frank Vogel, and they will have their third coach in 3 years following Monty Williams, Frank Vogel, and whoever could replace Frank Vogel. Frank Vogel, in his 1 year, 49 wins. Clearly, it was the coach's fault.
Yeah, it couldn't have been anything else.
Clearly the coach's fault. Definitely not ownership or saddling a defensive coach with a roster that didn't make sense.
You know
or
what?
A $50 million player that's not worth $50 million.
I will say it was the coach's fault, but it's also the fault of ownership who hired a coach that is not a coach that fits the roster that they hired him to coach.
It doesn't make any sense.
Well, for
Phoenix,
it does make sense because there's actually a little bit of awareness there that, yeah, we screwed this up. And this is going to be looked at as Frank Vogel couldn't get it done with the Phoenix Suns roster.
As
with
opposed to Ishbia
KD, Book, and Bradley Beal, Yusuf Nurkic and company. But the reality of it is they tried to fit a square peg into a round hole, and it didn't work for him at all. Like, this was... what it sucks for is Frank Vogel, who went in there and thought he was going to have a leash to work some stuff out, and boop, he gone. And that's tough, man. We saw the writing on the wall right when they got swept by the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm actually surprised it took this long. But they must have a direction that they know they're going in.
Well, that's the interesting thing about this. So you have the NBA draft lottery on Sunday, and you have the combine starting on Monday, which means transactions and stuff are going to start happening behind the scenes. They're not actually going to take place, but you have to understand this is the transaction-making window between now and the draft. Once the lottery's set and everybody knows the slotting order and what the values of picks are going to be, even if the draft boards are all over the place, everybody's going to come together at the combine, and this is when the formative talks are going to take place. And if you don't know who the hell your coach is, and you're a team the Suns, they are capped out. They are assetless. They have nothing to work with.
Third highest payroll in the NBA.
They went out there in a press conference and said that there's probably 26 other teams in the NBA that wishes they could trade places with them. There isn't a single team that wishes they could trade places with them.
Really?
No. Nobody wants to trade places with them. They have no way to get better, and they are nowhere near a title team. Bradley Beal is the biggest anchor in the NBA. He is $50 million of dead weight
contract.
I don't think they can move it in any way.
Yeah.
In any way. So whatever coach comes in there, you better be part magician.
Or force Bradley Beal to medically retire.
And then have him unretire and then have the insurance pay for it. Oh, sorry, Brandon. That hurts. But this is an opening now, and we alluded to this yesterday to kind of see where things were going. The report from Chris Mannix yesterday about Chauncey Billups and people monitoring the situation here. This is the job that behind the scenes I have heard that would be looking at Chauncey Billups. Adrian Wojnarowski has mentioned Mike Budenholzer as a potential for that job. I just want to highlight real quickly.
Yeah.
Adrian Wojnarowski and most of ESPN represented, not run by, same thing, by CAA, Creative Artists Agency. Mike Budenholzer is a CAA client. So if you want to.
Well, Budenholzer was also a finalist for the Nets job.
Great coach. I'm not saying that. But also, Budenholzer's name being thrown out there, not a surprise considering who his representation is.
They needed an offensive-minded coach there.
Well, and Bud, not a great... He is in the sense of what he will do to maximize guys. And he's a great tactician. But the thing that he doesn't do, and this is what got him killed in Milwaukee, was not making adjustments.
100%.
He has what he's going to do, and this is how he's going to do it. Now, don't get me wrong. He doesn't. It's not that he makes none. It's that he's unwilling to budge. You're seeing it with Rick Carlisle as well with the Pacers. He'll make adjustments, but there's certain things he just won't budge on.
Well, isn't that kind of what Kevin Durant almost wants in a Kevin Durant team is, hey, let me figure it out, just like Bud won the championship with Giannis. Let Giannis figure it out.
They played spread and they played drop coverage. They said, we are going to let teams shoot from three above the break. We are not going to let teams shoot from the corners on three. And then we are going to play drop and protect the rim. And the variance in the playoffs can bite them. And Bud got unfairly fired after losing to Miami with Chris Middleton on one leg and Giannis not playing.
But it was also because Giannis too.
Because Bud, great coach, like Nick Nurse, great coach, can wear on guys. And that's just
Terry Stotts.
I mean,
Players coach.
Doesn't wear on anybody. Offensive mind.
Offensive mind.
Last I heard, old Terry Bear's doing just fine collecting checks, hanging out in Florida.
And he'd probably be like, I don't want Nurk again.
Or have to deal with freaking KD. Yeah. I think the part of the reason was he went to Milwaukee. He's like, Giannis is pretty low maintenance.
Yeah. And
and then he got Dame, and he was like, great.
Hell yeah. And then Adrian Griffin's like, I need power.
Yeah. And then.
So, look, Chauncey's name's going to come up in this.
I would not be. Look, I'm not saying he's going to get the job. I am just saying that Matt Ishbia is being advised by Isaiah Thomas, who played for what franchise?
God. The Detroit Pistons.
Where is Chauncey Billups renowned for?
Detroit.
Okay.
This is so bad. And and Ishbia, a Michigan guy.
Again.
He loved him some Chauncey Billups.
I'm just drawing the strings about what is being talked about behind the scenes. The other opening that could happen is I don't think they'll do it. Tom Gore's the owner of the Pistons. I don't think he's willing to eat the money unless Monty Williams just says, I didn't want to do this anyways, and they come to a buyout that makes sense. But there's been noise about Monty Williams possibly asking out in Detroit or getting let go in Detroit and coming to an amenable solution there. And that's another job that if it were to come open, Chauncey Billups' name would rise to the top very quickly.
How would Blazer fans feel about Chauncey Billups leaving Portland and getting the Phoenix Suns job?
A lot like they did about trading Yusuf Nurkic for DeAndre Ayton.
I honestly, I would love to know how they would feel about Chauncey being like, deuces, I'm going to go down to Phoenix. And then, look, for everybody that wants Chauncey Billups fired here, you're not going to win with the roster that they had. Like, I still don't understand what fans' expectations were from Chauncey Billups. Like, you want adjustments in game? What could the Blazers have countered with over the last 2 years? Like, that is honestly my question, is like, what would you want him to counter with?
Yeah.
Because what he was trying to do is what any coach with a young core that they're trying to grow and develop is you find, whether it's 5, some teams are like 2. With this Blazers team, it might have been like one thing that we do well, and we are going to try to do that very well. Like, that is how you grow and develop talent.
Piece by piece.
You narrow it down. You narrow that scope down, and you say, this is how we grow. I don't know, and I've long said this. I don't know if Chauncey Billups is a good coach, but I don't know he's a bad coach either, because of the roster that he was given here in Portland. What I do know and what we did see is that guys did grow from game 1 to game 82, even though they got kicked in the nuts day in and day out. We did see players grow and develop, and they always played hard for him.
And I'm telling you this, the people on Twitter, the people on the text line, the people on Reddit, Chauncey Billups is not getting another coaching job anywhere else. You are missing brain cells because I am telling you right now, the level of respect that he has in the league, he is 100% getting another job. Now, outside of those 2 head coaching jobs, it's an assistant. But those 2, I've talked to people in L.A., they don't think it's going to be Chauncey in L.A. Weirdly enough, J.J. Redick's name is coming up more and more and more.
He didn't get the
Hornets job. Charles Lee, who was one of the young assistants.
He's got a backwards hat, though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
he can't get that job.
Can't do it. But I'd love to hear 503-864-6326 Vancouver Ford text line on that one, or the YouTube chat, or the Twitch.tv chat.
But I'm just telling you, this isn't me being biased toward Chauncey or me carrying the water for Chauncey. I'm telling you what Chauncey's relationships are in the league. He is beloved. Walk down a tunnel with him after a game and watch person after person after person after person stop him in the hall to talk.
I love this text. They can't shoot. Just tell them shoot better.
Yeah. And here's the other thing. When you're talking about relationships, we talk about like the Team USA stuff being so impactful as far as like forming free agents and trades and super teams and stuff like that. Go look at the 2010 Team USA. Guess who was on that team?
LeBron James.
Chauncey Billups and Kevin Durant.
Well, LeBron James was too.
Yeah. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
All right. Okay.
So there's a level of respect and admiration and that camaraderie that comes with playing with those teams. Just there. I'm not saying Chauncey is the front runner to land in Phoenix. I'm saying that it is out there and more than a little noisy.
Yeah.
That there would be interest in Chauncey going to Phoenix.
This text, Chauncey's a better coach with developed teams, not a rebuilding coach. And he didn't take this job as a rebuilding coach.
No, he took this team hopefully to trade CJ and then get bigger and play with Dame.
But
that's what they wanted to do.
And with
What he
that,
wanted to do.
I still don't know if Chauncey is. To that texter's point, we don't know if he is with a developed team.
I think he's gotten better.
But there are teams that are going to sit there and take a look at it and be like, we're going to give a damn roll of the dice here and give him that opportunity.
Well, you do that, and then you go surround him with X's and O's tactical coaches.
Yeah.
Because on the relationship stuff, man, like I'll tell you flat out, I'll give Chauncey an A grade. I'm not kidding. That's the way that he is with players and the respect that he gets from players is no one comes close. No one comes close.
Greg Popovich.
It's a different thing because
I mean it is.
It's a different kind of respect.
Yeah.
It's the former player respect. It's the same thing with Jason Kidd, and Kidd is a better player, but Chauncey still has I don't know why, man.
Well, it's because he's been through it. He understands what they're going through when
on every
times
level
are good, bad, on the court, off the court, all that
top
stuff.
draft pick that faltered, that took a little while, bounced around, had to figure it out, then was a champion, then was a role player, finals MVP. Like when he says like I've done it all, he's not BSing.
Yeah.
So for everybody, look, everybody's like, oh, you just want to be friends with Chauncey or whatever it is. It's like, no, I'm just telling you what I've seen over 3 years, man. That's just the reality of it. Are there coaching deficiencies? Absolutely. I just haven't cared to rail against them because they haven't had the talent to back it up.
No.
It's not worth it.
The whole adjustments thing is something that I've never understood, because if you want him to adjust, what was he supposed to adjust to? And look,
like year one playing Nurk above the free throw line, like being with an aggressive defense. I said it then. Don't do this. This is bad.
Yeah.
This is not going to work. And eventually they got away from it. But yeah, and using Cove originally as like a point of attack defender, and it was like, it's not really going to work. He's a help side guy. Those kind of things. But once they hit the reset button, I think he's been entirely fine. Was he great? Or has he been great? No, but I don't think for a developing team, he's been bad.
Yeah.
Well, at least on the relationship stuff and helping empower guys.
Sure.
So that's the big thing for me. So that's, if you're watching to see if Chauncey's going to leave, that's the way I would probably go.
All right.
It's one of those two, either Phoenix or if Detroit makes the move, Detroit.
And at that point, I hope Blazers just go and they find a very bright X's and O's guy. Young.
Yes.
I want someone young.
Or a very, very experienced coach.
Yeah, or an old curmudgeon.
Well, not even old, but just
bring back Terry Stotts.
Not even like that.
Bring back Terry.
I'm talking Dave Yeager, Kenny Atkinson, Vogel, like one of those, like, who and what they are, and they're kind of in their primes.
And a big man coach like
Vogel?
Frank Vogel,
who wanted to work with DA but didn't get the opportunity.
Trade him. Why'd they fire him? We just trade coaches. That's happened before.
It has happened. Doc got traded to the Clippers.
Trade him.
Huh.
They're going to rehire Frank Vogel, and the Blazers trade Chauncey to Phoenix for Frank Vogel and a second-round pick in 2037.
That's far enough out for me. I have to go with that. Okay. So,